Top five, top five, top five.
So time to go back with another video. I'm Strange Wang. He is Nate. We did our villains, decades, movie brackets, and we're going to start the heroes just like we did the villains with our top five. He'll tell you how the top five works, and then we'll get into it.
He's going to start with his 5 and 4. I'll give my 5 and 4, 3-2, 3-2. Then we trade off number ones. We also have something called the Zemeckis rule, which just means that we both have the same hero on our list, but one person has it 2 spots or higher. They'll say Zemeckis, and we'll just talk about it once.
Number 5 for me is going to be Henry Fonda's character from 12 Angry Men. Is he a regular superhero? No, because I love superheroes off. They get so many lists already, and I'm tired of talking about superheroes.
That's fair.
Personal preference, my list. These are my favorites. So, Henry Fonda made the cut, and it's because he's got qualities of a hero. He's an upstanding citizen. He fights for what he believes in. He's under scrutiny. He's got 11 angry men yelling at him, bitching at him, and moaning because he doesn't agree with them. He's talking his points out calmly. He's having to be the bigger person at every single turn. And the qualities of a hero, Henry Fonda in 12 Angry Men has all of them. So I thought it was only right to put him on my list for that reason.
Yeah. I think who you're talking about is juror number 8.
Juror number 8.
That's how he's credited. Or that's the name of the character.
Number 4 would have been much higher. Well, not much higher. It would have been one higher. But doing these brackets, choosing your path is pretty huge. And unfortunately, the T-800 from Terminator 2 is programmed to have hero-like qualities. But it still makes him a hero, nonetheless. He saves John Connor. He's looking after Sarah Connor. The tension that brings and the relationships always makes this character interesting. He has comedic moments that work because of the relationship with John Connor. The action stuff, Schwarzenegger, he's got that shit down pat, bow and a ribbon. And then the most heroic thing a person can do is sacrifice.
Am I lying?
In this case, self-sacrifice. The best self-sacrifice in movie history. That took a lot longer than I thought.
Stupid.
So for my list, I didn't exclude superheroes. Really what I wanted to consider was because hero is not a term that I throw around lightly. I work in a job field where people throw that term around real fucking lightly, and it drives me insane. So I really wanted to consider some feats. Some how many people did you save?
Feats.
What's the quality of the people that you saved? How much good did you do? And there's one character on my list that is mildly an exception to that, but he's just so cool I couldn't help it. But number 5 for me is going to be V from V for Vendetta. Homie is fighting against an incredibly corrupt government. You got politicians sleeping with little kids and doing all sorts of awful, absolutely oppressive and corrupt things.
I didn't know they cast a pope in that movie.
And I really... I disagree with labeling him as an anti-hero, and we just talked about this earlier. I think people do that because he fights back against this tyranny by incredibly violent means and shadowy means. He is a rebel, but I don't think there's anything anti-hero about him because what he is fighting against is essentially pure evil, and he's not doing it for really any other... there's mild revenge aspects to his fight, but he also recognizes how awful this thing is and its need to be torn down, and gives a lot of people back a freedom in the process. So number 4 for me is going to be Luke Skywalker. The reason I made him lower is because I was I don't know that I really want to pick him from one individual movie, so I was looking at Luke's kind of entire journey. So in the first one, he's really not much of a hero. He's just kind of learning about how to be one. But he wants to go fight the Empire. He recognizes that they're bad and evil. He does eventually blow up the Death Star. But then, 2 and 3 really comes into his hero aspectness. But then loses his way somewhere along the line, but then comes back and gets to be a hero in one of the coolest scenes in Star Wars ever, in my opinion, that I had zero problems with. So, freaking love The Last Jedi.
That's right, I said it.
Luke's great. He's fighting space Nazis, and doesn't get much more noble than that.
Number 3 for your boy is going to be Clarice Starling from Silence of the Lambs. Just the way this film's directed, it makes her the underdog. The first scene, she's climbing uphill, and that's what this character is doing this entire movie. It's an uphill battle. The people she works for, they don't respect her. She's technically still a FBI rookie, so she doesn't have a lot of like on-the-job training, which that her officers above her and everyone, that just puts them lower anyways. And the whole thing about her being a female drops it even lower. So she's got a work uphill battle to climb. She's got the serial killer, the case. She's dealing with Hannibal Lecter left and right. There's just so much in her way for her not to succeed, and for her to do that above everything. I gotta throw her on the list, because not only does she have that good underdog story, and I want her to win, I want her to keep pushing, she has the qualities of the hero. Like I said, for Mr. Juror number 8, Henry Fonda's character, she got things she believes in, she sticks to them, she's playing the game, she's doing it respectfully though, and she understands that she gets that, and she's a hard worker, she doesn't got no quit, she got a good heart. Had to put it in there. Love a good underdog story too, so obviously. Next one you won't agree with, but for me in my personal life,
This is like the most not hero person on the list, but go ahead.
Rocky Balboa is number 2, and he is a hero.
He's not a hero.
He's an inspiration. He got himself out the gutter. When life gets hard, you keep getting up, you keep moving forward. He is a real life. He's the closest hero that you could put to a real life situation, and especially with me personally, especially this year. This year sucked, but I can look to best friends to talk to, but
Don't compare me to him.
best friends aren't always there, especially this cocksucker. He's the worst at texting.
That's true. I'm an
He's
awful
garbage,
texter.
dude.
Yeah,
If I told him I was on fire,
that's not true.
I would look like Freddy Krueger before
If
he
it was
texted me
something
back.
really serious, I respond.
But I always got Rocky. I can always look up Rocky clips on YouTube. I can always, if something's hard and I need to get over it, I can always turn to Rocky. He's a real life hero. He's an inspiration, and the story mirrors Stallone's journey to make Rocky and the star in it. And again, he's got morals, he's got heart, he's got qualities of a hero. He fights for what he believes in, and I can take things that Rocky does in that movie and apply them to my life and grow.
So he's a good mentor.
Nah, because I don't know him.
He saves no one. Anyways,
He doesn't. He saved my life, bro.
no, he did not.
He did.
He may have contributed to things that have saved your life. He did not save your life.
It's debatable.
My number 3 does actually save some people's lives. However, this is the one that's like more of an exception to my rule, because he's really going after one thing that's for him, but in the process ultimately becomes a hero to a lot of oppressed people. My number 3 is Django from Django Unchained. I think, like, for me, a lot of what it has to do with is also what are you fighting against. So it's like, yes, Django's ultimate goal was to free his wife from slavery. So she is very directly her hero in the story. But Django contributes to taking down one of the largest slave owners in the country. And in the process to getting to his wife, either jails or kills a lot of other really bad people in the process. But ultimately, even though it's not really discussed in the film, I guess we don't know what happens to all the other slaves that were at Candyland. Like, they could have been picked up by other slave owners, or maybe they made it north. I don't know. But Django is an absolute hero to an incredibly oppressed community, and even more so to his wife, which I also have one of those, and I totally understand his fight and why it is so important to him to save this one specific person that is so important to him. So, a lot of hero qualities, as someone would say, in Django.
Makes sense.
You get home, you go call your wife a little troublemaker?
Maybe. I don't know what she would say if I called her that. My number 2 is mildly...
She might pass out.
Maybe. My number 2 is mildly controversial because we actually just had a conversation about this character and why he may not technically be a hero, but I thought about it some more and watched some clips and did some research because it bothered me that I had that revelation about one of my favorite movie characters of all time. So I'm here today prepared to defend my number 2, which is Indiana Jones. What? Are you saying wow because of what we just talked about last week?
You love Indiana Jones more than I do, but he's my number 1.
Oh, really? Sick.
Favorite hero.
Yeah.
Also, leaving superheroes off left a big gap.
Right.
But
which is probably why if I had a no superhero rule, no spoilers for my number 1, then it would have been.
But thinking about it as well, I can sum up every Indiana Jones movie. If you ask me what it's about, it's a hero's journey.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a hero's journey. Keyword hero. It counts. He saves people. If it wasn't for him and Shoshana, the Nazis would be running this country right now, dog. I swear to God. You know, like Rocky ended the Cold War. Indiana Jones ended World War II. That's how I see it.
Yeah, one of those was an actual war.
So, Space War. Ryan Gosling into that one. Indiana Jones, he has hero qualities as well.
Yeah.
Like, he has good morals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Short Round. He didn't have to take a kid off the street.
Right.
And treat him like his own. So, hero qualities, hero's journey. Is it some selfish reasons? Yes. But why did Spider-Man start Spider-Maning? Selfish reason.
Yeah.
So, a lot of superhero things, kind of, except for Henry Fonda, all of them, and the T-800, Shorty, she got something to prove, so she's going to catch Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
Rocky, he's got something to prove along the way he inspires people.
Yeah.
So,
and loses.
In that movie. So, even though what we talked about, I still think he's a world-class hero.
Yeah, I agree.
And he's my number 1.
And so...
He's an everyman, too.
That's true.
How can you not love him?
Yeah, so not only is Dr. Jones a hero amongst the archaeological community, which he certainly is, but we were talking on another video about how Indiana Jones may not necessarily be superheroic because he's really just trying to get these artifacts. And I will say this, he's never doing it for his own glory. He legitimately cares about preserving history. He legitimately believes that belongs in a museum. And so it's not about getting his face on a paper or being accredited for something. He legitimately cares about the history. And up until the first movie, probably doesn't even believe in the supernatural elements of these things. But once he finds out about those things, his mission then becomes, I cannot let the Nazis have this because they are going to use it for awful things. And so his motive does truly switch from, I need to get that in a museum, to, holy crap, this is going to be really bad if these racist occult freaks get to hang on to this thing.
Or people who sacrifice people and
right, or people who are
slave
sacrificing, and all that kind of weird cults out there. So it's
and
like
aliens.
So yes, almost all of his stories do start with him just wanting to recover an artifact, but they all always end with his motive switching to, like, I have to stop the Nazis from using this. I get some pussy. I have to save my dad. Like, I have to, He even tries to save Elsa at the end of Last Crusade. So,
He's the coochie man.
yeah. I mean, he is. Like,
great timing.
yeah, he is.
That's my number one. Who's your number one?
My number one is Batman. And, yeah.
Pacific Batman, are you taking all the Batman?
You know, I really thought about it. If you had to nail me down to one movie, then I'm going to take The Dark Knight.
Ooh, really? Not Mask of the Phantasm?
Oh, well, I didn't think about that.
Came out in theaters.
Yeah, that's a good one. But, you know, there's not really any Batman movie where, like, it ends with him, like, you know, he gets down in some movies and, like, is maybe considering doing some not hero-like things in some situations and stuff like that. But at the end of every Batman movie, he is being a true hero. The Dark Knight is the one that comes to mind for me because when I just think about the end of that movie, and like Gordon's whole speech about, you know, he's not, I can't remember if need or deserve comes first, but essentially he's talking about how, like, you know, Batman's not going to be the hero people want, but he's the hero that they need, right? And I think there is a significant self-sacrificial element to Batman being Batman. I don't know that Batman even sees it that way because to him, there's no other option than to do this. And like,
well, he sacrifices love. And
yeah, it's true.
His reputation at the end of Dark Knight.
Yeah, but in most stories, he doesn't really care about that, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's fair. You
know, it's never too difficult. Of like maybe in some of the animated series stuff, he has a harder time but choosing between being Batman and his love life and things like that. But
he fucking blows off Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, but in the movies, it's like he entertains the ideas of love. It's like he just needs a little reminder that those things are out there. You know, in The Dark Knight, he was ready to hang up being Batman for a homegirl, but she's in love with Harvey Dent, so what you gonna do? But at the end of the day, he still almost always just chooses being Batman. And I could easily see that playing out, a scenario where Batman does choose to settle down and give it up, but then some sort of evil is going to arise. And no matter how many years down the road it was, I guarantee you Bruce Wayne is not going to be able to resist because he thinks one of his more selfish aspects is I legitimately also think he thinks that he's the only one that can do it.
You're not wrong.
What he's fighting against, the amount of people that he's saved, like how cool he is doing it. Like he has the coolest dual personality of any, like Batman, like Bruce Wayne. At least some iterations of Bruce Wayne are like the coolest, like not superhero version of a superhero out of anyone, and it's definitely freaking Batman for me. So technically the only superhero on my list.
Yeah, but that's the list. Let us know your favorite hero. I was gonna say five. That's the favorite. And then as we got really country. Your five favorite or your favorite hero down in the comment section below. And stay tuned for these hero brackets. We're starting off with the 1980s and we're going up from there. So make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for that.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.